You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 290. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
And I'm evil, yuppie, government bureaucrat Jeff Barnhart. Took a lot to get that out.
Well, I'm really proud of you. Your elocution is on game today. Mine clearly is off.
Okay.
But Comic Reflections is brought to you by The Outhouse. You can find our show and other nifty content at theouthousers.com. And if you enjoy this program, please subscribe to us on either iTunes or Stitcher. Today, Jeff, I decided on the spur of the moment that we would do another Iron Fist and Luke Cage episode. And so that's what we're doing. The first issue we'll talk about today is Iron Fist number 14, cover dated August of 1977. And according to Mike's Amazing World of Comics, it went on sale May 3rd of 1977. We've got a cool cover here, penciled by designed and laid out by Dave Cockrum, and then penciled and inked by Al Milgrom. With Iron Fist in battle with Sabretooth, who this is his first appearance, and of course, as comic book fans know, went on to become the ultimate nemesis of the X-Men's Wolverine. Yeah. Interesting that Claremont, who was either writing X-Men at this point or about to start. He was writing X-Men at this point. Yes. I'm just thinking it may not be quite when John Byrne had started. I'm a little fuzzy on that timeline. That he would kind of reuse this character that kind of didn't make a splash, and he becomes a major character later on. I like that.
Yeah. He's a decent character. X-Men, besides the evil mutants, I can't think of any of their villains. It doesn't really come to mind except for Magneto's group.
Yeah.
Do they even fight anybody besides Magneto or the government?
They do. There's the Sentinels. There's, of course, Sauron, the pterodactyl man.
Well, Sentinels are part of the government thing.
Right. Well, sometimes they are.
Yeah. And they are cool.
Usually it's actually more often than not, it's privately funded organizations. But okay. I love the Sentinels. But the X-Men, they have other enemies that they have out in space and things. But there's more than Magneto and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. I'll put it that way. Other mutant groups, the Hellfire Club, other stuff.
But I don't know. But Sabretooth seems to stick out. Maybe it's because he's an equal into Wolverine.
Yeah.
And ferocity and pure meanness.
Yeah. I think, and I could be wrong, but I believe that Sabretooth resurfaces in the X-Men series, I think for the first time as a member of Mr. Sinister's mutant hunting group, the Marauders. They're mutants who kill off other mutants. It's part of that testing and wanting only the strongest ones to survive kind of stuff. And that is connected to Mr. Sinister's association with Apocalypse. That's his main shtick. But I get down rabbit hole. Yeah. This is a fun cover. Why don't we talk about the issue?
Right. And I love the font of Iron Fist. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's very good. And I like when Iron Fist and Luke Cage merged, the kind of combined logo is very nice. That's really classic.
Yeah. A great scene. They're fighting in the snow, over a cliff. And Iron Fist has, bedroom slippers on or something.
Well, yeah, he always has those ballerina slippers.
Yeah. But it's snow.
I know, but it's his superhero costume. He does not have. It's not like Batman where he's got different outfits for different types of adventures. But anyway, the story in this issue is called Snowfire. It was written by Chris Claremont, penciled by John Byrne, and inked by Dan Green. We have a really cool splash panel with Iron Fist and Colleen Wing in the Himalayan snowy areas, right?
Canadian Rockies.
Are they Canadian Rockies?
Yeah.
Why did I think that? I'm just stuck on Kunlun because I know that's near that.
Yeah, we've been watching the TV show.
I have. I'm not quite finished with it, but yeah. And I'm also really tired today, so forgive me, fans.
Okay. I love the way the title is Snowfire. There's, I don't know, I'm not sure what this big circle,
The moon, maybe?
blankness. Hmm?
Maybe it's the moon?
Maybe so, but it's
Or maybe
huge.
it's a spotlight. Oh, maybe we're looking into the crosshairs of somebody shooting at Colleen and Iron Fist.
That might be it. But the Snowfire title is goes around
It
that. It's
takes
pretty neat.
up almost a third of the page, or
Hmm.
more than that. It's kind of like it looks like the way they did the logo, it's a bit of a Will Eisner Spirit type of splash page.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Iron Fist and Colleen
Wing?
Wing, yeah,
Yeah.
is running away. Colleen gets shot in the head, but she's not too bad.
Yeah, it only creased her skull because
Yeah.
this is comics and that is
Mhm.
a thing that happens all the time. Bullets rarely find their mark in the in
Yeah.
a deadly fashion.
Right. They our heroes fall down into a valley or a chasm,
Yeah.
and we see the bad guys. They shot them. Yay, we shot them, and we need to go check on them. Oh, there's a storm coming, so just leave them be. They're going to die, which is what villains always say.
Right.
They can't live. It's
Yeah.
impossible.
And the bad guys are clearly smarter than Iron Fist and Colleen, at least in one regard, because they are wearing snow gear and
Mhm.
stealthy looking outfits. I mean, Colleen's in red and blue, and Iron Fist in his green and yellow outfit.
Yeah.
Easy to
Oh,
spot.
yeah. But at least she's wearing
She's
winter
wearing a
clothes.
coat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like Iron Fist's costume.
You don't?
No.
Some of those pop collars are really great, but I think it's weird though. Karate Kid from the Legion of Superheroes
Mhm.
also had a pop collar at this time, and pop collar, especially for a martial arts hero, makes the least amount of sense because it's going to compromise your peripheral vision.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. A T-shirt would probably be the best thing,
yeah,
or a suit of armor. I don't
yeah.
know.
So they
Um,
don't die in the snow.
So they're gonna go to a weather shack, and we get a flashback. First of a few flashbacks. Uh, Iron Fist is walking down the street in his ridiculous costume, and he's ambushed. Oh, duh.
Yeah,
I love these old ads.
yeah, they're
Joe
pretty.
Weider.
Yeah.
Oh man. And Iron Fist gets his butt kicked by a guy who has the same wingless dragon
Insignia on his chest.
yeah, and he knows where Kunlun.
I believe that is Davos, who,
Who's in the TV show.
yeah, but he's also a problem and stuff in the comics.
Yeah.
He's sort of Iron Fist's quasi-opposite number type of character.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yes.
Yeah. All right. So this guy, this mysterious figure, just beats him up and walks away laughing.
Right.
And so Iron Fist is kind of worried about that. They find the weather shack to go in. There's nothing there. So she's injured. So they do Kung Fu mind meld.
Yeah.
And
Which is totally different than the Star Trek mind meld.
yeah, but
mean,
just as ridiculous.
Okay.
um,
Remember.
yeah. Did you see this? Customizing cars, vans, and cycles.
Yeah,
Make money.
Yeah, I love that. Like, that's how Michael Golden got his start in as an artist. He was customizing vans. He was painting pictures on
Wow.
the side of vans, and somebody just talked him into trying out for comics, and he kind of stumbled into a comics career.
Wow, that's a great story.
Yeah, and he did, I think, the bulk of the Micronauts, the original series.
Oh yeah, there's a real drawing.
They are. Yes.
Okay, so Colleen Wing requests the presence of Iron Fist in Calgary. She is guarding Hogarth and Jaren Hogarth.
Jaren Hogarth. Now, in all the Netflix shows, Jaren Hogarth has been gender swapped,
Mhm.
and it's the chick from The Matrix.
Who I love.
Good.
And she does a good job.
Yeah, you said you had not watched Jessica Jones yet?
No, I have not.
She's in that a ton.
Mhm.
She's one of the main supporting characters in that one. So, if you like her, that's another...
Okay. All right, I need to watch it then.
Yep.
So it looks like Iron Fist just broke up with his girlfriend. Let's see.
Misty Knight.
Yeah.
Misty Knight.
Um.
Is they broke... Oh, they were having a fight.
Yeah.
Right.
No. Yeah. It's his fault. It looks like.
Well,
So-
isn't it always?
Right.
You know. Uh,
Okay, so Colleen meets him, and then they go off to where they're supposed to Hogarth guard him, excuse me,
Yep.
and they're surprised by villains. And look who it is! It's a great, and I would wish I would be introduced to the world like Sabretooth is here. It's great.
Yeah, he just walks in. He doesn't make a grand entrance. He walks in, and he's got this awesome costume.
Yeah, and he's on this pedestal and looks cool.
Yeah. He's like, what is he, the leader or a mercenary? Or is he like a leader of a mercenary group?
Yeah, professional gunman.
Yeah. It's a weird beginning for this character because
Yeah.
usually he's a hired gun for people.
Mhm.
And in this instance, he's the boss.
Yeah. Man, those eyebrows. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so our heroes let themselves be captured, and of course, this doesn't last long because they only send a couple of
A couple of henchmen against Colleen and Iron Fist.
the predictably inept guards.
Yeah.
And they get their butts kicked. And
Yeah.
Sabretooth comes out and they get a big fight.
Yeah.
And they escape, and Sabretooth's really ticked off. And
He's not exactly an even-tempered guy historically.
Yep.
Although in this outing, we'll see him kind of be like not as intense.
Right. And so they make off in a snowcat,
Yeah.
and but it's got an empty tank, so they don't get very far. And so this couple of bad guys,
A guy and a gal.
yeah, and you don't know until she gets. No, you can barely tell she's feminine there, but then that's a girl.
Yep. So yeah, Iron Fist takes them down with ease, and then he and Misty.
You see an explosion, and in the middle explosion is a fist. That
Yeah.
is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so the reason why one of the bad guys is a gal is so they're Colleen has something to wear.
Right. They steal the henchmen's uniforms. They wrap them up in what do they wrap them in?
um, they look like mummies, but it's some of the sleeping bags or something. I don't know.
Okay, because I forgot. So,
Hmm.
but anyway, they are tied up. Oh, it must be sleeping bags. So it'll keep them from freezing to death until somebody finds them.
Yeah, and they just had a big snow, and they were saying that the Mounties come out and check after every snow to see if anyone's in the weather shack, which is kind of a cool thing.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of just big, open, unpopulated land in Canada. So,
Hmm.
and Alaska as well. So that's really cool that is a policy.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. I mean, this could be complete crap, but
Yeah, it could be
but
a
it's
comic book.
but it sounds like a real thing,
Yeah.
which is good writing.
Yes. And, it makes sense. You have a big snowstorm, someone needs shelter, so you go where the shelters are and check up on them.
Right. And this was penned by the guy who wrote the X-Men for 14 years. So,
You should know something.
well, yeah. I mean, Claremont's a quality writer, and
Is he Canadian?
no, I don't think John Byrne is.
Yeah.
John Byrne was born in England and then spent most of his young life in Canada.
Yeah.
He was a kid in England and then his teens and early adulthood, I think, were in the States.
Yeah.
If memory serves.
Okay.
Or, excuse me, not the States, Canada.
All right. Well, we go back to the story. Our two heroes go back to the evil HQ and they see a really cool helicopter.
Yeah, it looks like something straight out of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. And Iron Fist says, looks kind of familiar, but I don't know where. I'm not sure what that means, so.
Well, it may be just something to seed something later that doesn't get picked up. Sometimes
Right.
that happens too.
Yeah.
Dangling plot threads get used to them because they happen in comics.
I know, but I was hoping you would know what's going on with that.
In this instance, I do not.
Okay. So, Iron Fist goes after Sabretooth. Colleen goes after the lawyer Hogarth. And Hogarth has these girl warriors with him. And they're rescued, and they go out and they start shooting up the place. I was wow. I had no idea.
Okay.
They do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
They distract Sabretooth long enough for Iron Fist to come out and start the inevitable fight.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty good fight.
It is. And Sabretooth kind of holds back until he has the opportunity to temporarily blind Iron Fist.
Yeah. Ooh, Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Yeah, there's a house ad for Godzilla's then new series at Marvel. And it's one of those cool licensed properties where they incorporated characters from the Marvel U into that series.
Ooh.
Gabe from the Howling Commandos and later of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Is the S.H.I.E.L.D. operative who was like following Godzilla mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool. I'm trying to remember Gabriel
Jones, I think.
Is it Gabe Jones? Okay. Because I just can't remember. But what I've read of that series is fun.
Yeah. I want to know what happens if the Hulk fights him.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. That series was drawn by Herb Trimpe, who was the 1970s Hulk artist.
Yeah. Well, who would be... Is the Hulk stronger than Godzilla? I wouldn't think so.
I don't know if... Because I haven't read that whole series. I don't know if Hulk even shows up in it, so we could know for sure.
Yeah.
I would say...
I want to write my congressman to the man.
At full size, Godzilla at full size, I'd say no. Yeah. I know there's a storyline in that series where Godzilla is shrunk and then fights the Fantastic Four at like human size.
Ooh.
Yeah, so imagine the Thing versus Godzilla.
That's cool. What about Godzuki?
That is a character created for the Hanna-Barbera series, which was not included in this.
Oh, yeah. I hated Godzuki.
Right. I'm trying to remember if that had a comic series. It may have happened. And if so, if it did, and if memory serves, Charlton would have had the license for it. Because they had a license for things like Valley of the Dinosaurs and stuff. This is me stretching the memory banks and coming up a little dry when it comes to Godzilla. But anyway. Okay. What's happening to Iron Fist? How does a Sabretooth blind him? I forgot.
Oh, hold on. I'll explain. First, the girls and Colleen, they blow up the helicopter with people in it.
Yeah.
And they seem pretty happy about it. So,
yeah.
And this... the explosion makes glass shatter.
And you see bodies go flying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dang.
Yeah, but they're minions, so who cares?
And also, it's cool.
Yeah.
And it's not like you shot them in the head. You shot a thing that blew up and they were caught in it.
Yeah. I don't care either way. They're bad guys.
Well, I know, but there are ways you'll see deaths depicted in comics in the Code era. Like, you wouldn't have seen Iron Fist just, like, break some guy's neck, kill him.
Yeah. Okay, so Sabretooth runs away from the glass, and here's Iron Fist saving Hogarth, and he sees Sabretooth running away, so Iron Fist chases after him, and he's really happy. Yay, I'm going to get him. And then he's snow-blinded, and they show this really cool. You see the figure of Iron Fist.
And the whole rest of the panel is white. Is it because the sun rises and reflects off of that fresh snow?
Yes.
Okay.
I am thinking that's it, yes.
Okay.
Like, I've never been snow blind, and I'm just regular blind.
Right. So. I just couldn't recall exactly why that happened. But then that gives Sabretooth a major upper hand.
Yeah, which is fairly clever of him.
Luke has to fight blind. Oh, yeah, and this is perfectly... it fits the character of Sabretooth perfect. A lot of times an initial outing for a character will be... Their characterization will be different than later stuff. But this one's like, doing underhanded stuff. Fighting dirty. That's Sabretooth's bag, baby.
Yeah.
And...
Yeah, that's something else.
Yeah, and then the fight goes on for a few pages.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And Iron Fist is losing bad.
Yeah, well, because he can't connect.
Yeah, so,
But then he summons he remembers his training.
Yeah, where he learned how to, fight without sight in his prep school or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, and he summons the Iron Fist, and stuff.
Yeah, does he summon the Iron Fist?
He summons it on the preceding page and misses when he swings at Sabretooth.
Oh,
and then once he remembers how to fight blind, he's listening very carefully, and he nails Sabretooth in the chest with kick. We have a Twinkie alert.
Yes, I think we've seen this one before.
I don't think we've talked about this one in years, though. So,
okay,
Spider-Man and Madam Web, not the Madam Web that actually appeared in the Spider-Man comic series.
Yeah, she's in love with Spider-Man, and he doesn't want anything to do with her, which is understandable.
Sure,
And
she's clearly crazy, but she's webbed up all of the Brooklyn Bridge or something, and Spidey's getting the blame in the Daily Bugle, and so he goes and confronts Madam Web.
Yeah, and he gives her Hostess Twinkies.
Right, and she goes to jail.
Yeah, yay, Spider-Man!
Not
yay,
a kick, a punch, or a web to any part of her takes place in the issue or in the story.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
Not one of my favorites. So.
Yeah, I do like the character design for that Madam Web.
Yeah, not bad.
I saw somebody somewhere on Facebook. I saw a picture. Somebody did a customized action figure of that character.
Oh my God!
I'm serious.
Wow.
It looked cool though.
Yeah, man, that's a great cultural phenomenon. I'm not a big Hostess fan, but I've had some Twinkies in honor of this great campaign.
Right. A campaign that lasted, I think, most of the 70s and into the early 80s. And so they are synonymous with the Bronze Age of comics, and they're ubiquitous throughout that period.
Yeah. Spider-Man does not eat the Twinkie.
Well, he'd have to lift up part of his mask to do that.
Well, he could do that and still remain.
Right.
But but they never. I think we only seen once or twice
where the hero eats it.
Yeah. It is interesting.
Yes. So anyway, Iron Fist clobbers Sabretooth. But
nice fight.
Oh no, Sabretooth does. He knocks him out cold. So I'm assuming he is brought to justice.
Yeah.
Look at that. So they saved Hogarth from the assassination attempt by Sabretooth and his henchpersons. And everybody except for Sabretooth and the bad guys live happily ever after.
Yeah.
For now.
That is an interesting little thing. Iron Tooth is just beating Sabretooth. And we see the back of Iron Fist.
Sabretooth clawed him on the back, and we see the claw marks, and he ripped up Iron Fist's costume.
And then he feels something coming towards him. So he swings around and with a mighty fist, and we're still seeing the back of his head, which is kind of interesting. Mainly you see the front of heroes.
Right. I think it's there's several panels, including in the fight with Sabretooth, where you see the back of his head.
Yeah.
Nice change of perspective, you know what I mean?
And well done.
Yeah, and it kind of shows that his mask is a thing that he kind of pulls together and ties it as in a knot in the back.
Yeah.
So a nice touch by John Byrne there. But yeah, anyway, he swings at Misty before she identifies herself because he's still, fighting, thinking it's Sabretooth or one of his henchmen.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool because that's what people do,
Yeah.
So, not a bad issue at all. And Sabretooth goes on to become the Sabretooth we all love and admire. And it's well done. It's well drawn. Don't have much to say about it.
But it's a fun issue. I'm glad we had a chance to talk about it. We are going to take a quick promotional break, and we'll return.
The end of the world is approaching. Soon the planet will be engulfed in a nuclear Armageddon, and the only people that can prevent this from happening are considered to be the greatest villains of all time. The only thing standing in their way is the Justice League. In 2005.
Wait a second. Are we sure about that date this time?
Yeah, it's 2005. We're sure this time.
Let's just be perfectly clear. I hate all of you so much.
Okay, good. Got that. All right.
In 2005, DC Comics began publishing a 12-issue bi-monthly comic called Justice. Written by Jim Kruger with art by Alex Ross and Doug Braithwaite, this series was essentially a Super Friends for adults. and now another group of super friends has come together to discuss all 12 issues in a podcasting crossover called JL May 2017. The excitement begins on the April 30th episode of the Fire and Water podcast and continues into Supermates, the Idlehead of Diabolou podcast, Views from the Long Box, the Pulp to Pixel podcast, the Lantern Cast, the Shazam Cast, Comic Reflections, the Silver and Gold podcast, the Power of Fishnets, Waiting for Doom, and Justice's First Dawn. JL May 2017. Last year, they covered the beginning of the Justice League. This year, they discuss and review the League's toughest battle. The coverage begins on April 30th on the Fire and Water podcast, located at fireandwaterpodcast.com.
Warlord Worlds, a fan podcast devoted to the comic creations of Mike Grell, including Warlord, John Sable, Starslayer, Shaman's Tears, and Green Arrow. I'm Darren.
And I'm Ruth. We hope you'll join us as we discuss the stories, characters, and art in the many excellent comics from writer and artist Mike Grell.
Warlord Worlds is available at podbean.com and on iTunes and Stitcher.
Find us at warlordworlds.com.
And we're back. Now, Jeff, we're on to talk about another issue of Power Man and Iron Fist. This is issue number 114, cover dated February of 1985. But according to Mike's Amazing World of Comics, it went on sale November 6th, 1984. And this very offbeat cover we've got here was drawn by John Byrne, which I was surprised. It didn't jump out to me as John Byrne art, which usually I'm pretty good at identifying artists, as you may have gathered. But this one, I didn't notice the certain earmarks of his work in this. So, would you read the cover copy, please?
Okay. Luke and Danny aren't on this cover because they're afraid of this man. His name is Gordy. He's very, very dangerous. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's just kind of like...
He's a yuppie.
Yeah.
And just a regular Joe.
Well, Yuppie and regular Joe aren't exactly
a regular same. Joe, yeah. Yeah. But
he's a man of the 80s, and upwardly mobile-ish man of the 80s, and what?
He's got a cell phone, and he's sitting in a chair, and it looks very film noir with the
lampshades
and all that.
But yeah, I remember earlier in the 80s they had a thing called Assistant Editors Month, and most of the issues that came out that month were kind of goofball, different kinds of issues. This is not one of those. I mean, because those would say on the cover, it's Assistant Editors Month. Don't say we didn't warn you or something like that. This is a really offbeat cover and issue.
I wonder if it's sold. I would love to know.
I don't know. Well, Power Man and Iron Fist wasn't selling great at this time, I don't believe, because this is about 11 issues away from cancellation. It ended with 125. And also in that issue, spoiler, the death of Iron Fist. Comic book death. He came back much later. But for a long time, Luke Cage was then solo and without a series after that. But yes, the story in this issue is called Squeeze, written by Jim Owsley, and the art duty is kind of split in half. The first set of pages are roughly half of the story are done by one art team, and the others pages by another. But pencils on this issue are by Billy Graham, not the evangelist, and Stephen Geiger, and the inks are by Jerry Acerno and Keith Williams.
Yeah, there's a lot of people working on this.
Well, yeah, a lot of people work on comic books anyway, but double the art team.
Yeah.
You'll see that in that kind of thing happen a lot on when there are deadline issues or when it's a book that's not selling great and we are giving work to people who either are new in the biz or not getting a lot of work elsewhere. Just okay, well, there's this. I got this Iron Fist script for you. You can work on that. That kind of thing. What is the? Describe the opening splash page, if you would. We open on Iron Fist swinging from the rooftops.
Yep, and he's going down the street. So how does he? Where did he swing from?
We don't know.
Because he's going directly down the street.
Well, you remember the I know, and in between these buildings. Remember the old Spider-Man cartoon?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you see there's a shot in that introduction where he's swinging on a web line, like in the city, like just straight down the line between these buildings. What's he swinging from?
Yeah.
So that's a thing.
Yeah. Okay, so he swings down and starts kicking butt.
Yeah, against some, armed, look like supervillain henchmen because they all have these uniform-type costumes. Cool costumes.
I'm not sure I like the helmets.
It's like lavender and pinkish purple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's being narrated by an unseen narrator.
Who will be... Spoilers, it's Gordy.
Yeah. And,
the quote-unquote villain of this issue.
Right. So, Iron Fist is doing pretty good.
More than pretty good. He kicks the crap out of all these guys.
Yeah. And they've got guns. It looks like they have the Ingram Mac-10, which is super popular in the 80s in Hollywood. It's just like two boxes stuck together, the trigger and a little barrel coming out of it. And it shoots super fast, so it's very cinematic.
Yeah, it also looks kind of like an Uzi, but...
Mm-hmm.
But
it's not. But supposedly they have laser rifles too, and they try to shoot Iron Fist. And Iron Fist is in kind of a little bit of trouble, and luckily... Kool-Aid! No.
Luke Cage busts through a brick wall like Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah.
And then lays out the remaining henchmen, saving Danny's hide.
Yeah. Yep. Luke has got his old tiara. And,
of course.
And the big chains, and he's got the yellow shirt.
Yeah, and it's the classic Power Man costume. Mm-hmm. Love it.
Yeah. Man, is he mad.
Well, he's pretty mad quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. I think Mr. T would have been a good Luke Cage
if they could have talked him into growing an afro and ditching the mohawk, but there's no way. That was like his signature thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Carl Weathers, I think, would have been made Luke Cage too.
Yeah. Yeah. But
and at this time, it would have worked. I mean, he was hot off the Rocky movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's still very fresh in people's mind. Well, in fact, the Rocky movies are still going on.
Yeah. And they're still going on now.
Yeah.
One came out about a year or two ago. So.
Yeah. Well, and this is 3 years before Predator, I think.
Mm-hmm. Which is a wonderful movie.
Gosh, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not a great film, but it's a wonderful movie. So
yeah.
It is fun.
I mean, there's nothing like high art about it. It's low art, and it's unapologetic about it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's so much macho BS in that movie. It's great.
Yeah.
So infinitely quotable.
Mm-hmm.
So
we got 2 governors out of it, and another gubernatorial candidate. The American Indian, he ran for.
Oh, Billy. I know you're talking about.
He was my favorite character.
He's great.
His quiet majesty. He just was a cool guy. He didn't want to make mad, and that's really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
But back to Luke Cage. He raises his fist and wham.
Yeah, the whole panel is just the sound effect. I love that.
Okay. Yep. So, we've been watching a movie. Oh, what he hits when he goes wham is a camera.
Oh, very good. And so then we meet Gordy.
Yeah. We don't meet Gordy for a while because he's in the shadows.
Right, but he's talking about who is the bad guys that he's in with?
Control 7?
Control 7, that's right. In your notes, you described Gordy as looking like this person.
No. Weasel.
Oh, excuse me. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see Weasel in a little bit.
Okay.
And so, let's see what happens here. Okay.
So Gordy is in deep with Control 7.
Yeah. Is he? Or is he fighting? He's fighting Control 7. He's a government...
Oh, that's right. He's in Dutch with somebody, and he's got to take care of Control 7 to make amends.
He's helping CCI, which is another corporation.
Okay.
And so they show a picture of Captain Hero fighting Luke Cage, and it's pretty cool. I like seeing Luke in a suit. It's so not him. It's cool.
Captain Hero.
Yes. Some bozo who calls himself Captain Hero took Cage through a wall of safety glass.
Huh. Even I am unfamiliar with Captain Hero. I've heard the name before, but I can't.
It's a great name. It's so comic booky.
Well, it's like, you remember that movie Hero at Large with the guy from Three's Company?
Yeah. John Ritter.
John Ritter, where he's a cartoonist or a guy who becomes a superhero kind of by accident. He does one of those in-store appearances as this character and then becomes that guy.
Mm-hmm.
That character was called Captain Avenger, and that's what made me come think. That's what this reminded me of.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know who Captain Hero is.
Neither do I.
So anyway,
he's a good-looking guy though, and he's the anti-Luke Cage. I don't know if he's a villain or what, but he's clean-cut, an American type, all-American boy, and and got a nice costume. And Luke is in a business suit, and he's not happy.
Okay.
So we see Gordy. He looks like Marjoe Gortner, and
I have no idea who that is.
If you watch any 70s TV, Marjoe Gortner was everywhere. And he was a tall, black curly hair, and he was in everything. So I am almost certain he was in Wonder Woman series, but because everybody else was in it. So,
Marjoe Gortner. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He I've almost said Marjoe here, but Gordy has a cell phone.
In the 80s, that was a huge status symbol. Very few people had those. That's a very yuppie thing to have.
Oh, yeah. And same, long as you're BMW. But how stupid. Who's going to carry a phone with them all places? That's just stupid.
Right.
Which is what I said at the time. Who needs a phone?
Right.
If I leave it at home, I turn around and go back and get it.
Yeah. You do not want to be without your device. But yeah.
Yeah. So
there's a weird advertisement for Spider-Man hawking fishing lures or fishing rods.
Yeah. What is going on with this?
I've seen this before, but I thought, wow, what?
I love the way he is on the side of a bridge,
like with his feet sticking to it, because he's got the powers to do that.
Yeah, and that is pretty cool.
And with two kids, I just like Spider-Man shilling for fishing rods.
Garcia, never heard of him.
Yeah.
From New Jersey.
Yeah.
Do any fish survive in New Jersey? Oh, no, supposedly there's some really pretty parts of New Jersey, but I just didn't see them when I was driving through.
Okay.
So they want to get...
Who are they?
Gordy wants Luke Cage and Iron Fist to go after...
Control 7.
Control 7. And they're worried about... They're not going to, so they're going to have this. They're going to get the IRS, the building inspectors, and other people too.
He's using leverage to get. He uses leverage because over those things to get Luke Cage and Iron Fist to go after Control 7 for him.
Yeah, and let's see. So, all right. Then we see this Weasel guy, and this is the guy I was talking about.
Oh.
And he looks like a Golden Age villain, and a bad one at that.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Dr. Savannah with a mustache and big round spectacles. Sunglasses, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And I was shocked when I saw him because
Right.
it's so out of place. And they got one guy looking like Elvis, and one guy, I don't know, looking like the bald guy from that Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, Riff Raff.
Yeah. And
Or, yeah, Richard, whatever. I can't.
hmm
I have no recall today.
yeah.
There's an advertisement for Bonkers candies, which I think I may have had once when I was a kid, and they're pretty delicious.
Yeah.
And there's like somebody's grandma or something.
She's a school teacher, I think, or
Oh.
a librarian, and it was commercials, and says you can't eat in the library, and then bonk. And
Oh, you
that's-
remember these ads?
Yeah.
Okay, I've only seen the comic book ads. The librarian or whoever she is looks like one of my grandmothers.
Wow.
And yeah, so that's
And
kind of
these people are just, and there's some people in here are just stupid.
just enjoying the crap out of these bonkers candies.
And
I mean, it's a fruit, a chewy fruit candy.
yeah, this town going bonkers, and something fruity is going on around here.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We're off to see a Broadway musical.
Yeah.
That's bad, but
Yeah. Yeah. So Gordy meets with
the heroes for hire.
yeah, and I guess last issue their office got smashed. So we see the effects of that. Man, Gordy is really unattractive.
Yeah, he is. I think he's like kind of a nebbish, a Jewish guy. I didn't pick up on his last name, but the fro is kind of hard to hide.
Although, no, that was a thing. People had permed hair.
Okay, well,
I thought about it. 'Cause
well,
I
you know
hate
who he
him.
looks like? He looks like Arnold Horseshack.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, what an awful show that was.
Yes, we've been over this. Can we move on,
sorry.
please?
Okay. All right. So, I was thinking earlier, I said, why don't they just ask him nicely to go after Control 7 instead of sicking the IRS and all that? But, well, he kind of asked them, says, it'd be kind of nice if y'all went after Control 7, and they just ignore him and walk out.
Is it he leaning on them to get them to do it without payment?
Or something. I don't know. It's sort of weird how they did it.
Yeah, and so I mean, Gordy is a would-be power broker, so I can see like if you can get people to do things without paying, that's smart.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
I mean, he talked to superiors and well, you got to get this done, and so this is very important that Control 7 is taken care of. And what is he trying to chin some out and make them do it for free?
Yeah, or is there something we know about Luke and Danny they don't want to mess with Control 7?
Yeah,
I haven't read the issues leading up to this, so who knows?
Yeah, so Luke Cage gets the summons from the IRS, and he's really mad. And that's great. And he crashes into an office and gets mad and talks to the people, and they're arguing about it. And suddenly, Control 7 attacks.
Yeah. One thing to note before we get into the fight with Control 7, this issue has the Mark Jewelers insert, and so that tells us that this issue was distributed on a military base.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Wish I had bought. I don't know if I saw comic books on the PX when I was in the military.
That's lame. You would think they would have at least had Sergeant Rock.
I just went to a. Yeah, you're right. But I was there in 85, 87. I wasn't really in comic books then.
Yeah.
So. Oh, well, so.
Well, you know what? At that point, yeah.
Who knows? So they come. Control 7 comes in and this threatens everybody and leaves, and that's it.
Yeah. They melt the wall, though.
Yeah. So Luke Cage calls Gordy and tells him that he'll help him out against Control 7. So they found out that they're going. I don't know how they got to this bank. I didn't
Who did
really
Control 7?
Well,
Or Luke
I know Control 7 went in a Con Edison van, but how did our heroes know they're going to attack this place?
Comic books.
Yeah. Or maybe this is the headquarters of CCI, and that's how they know it's going to attack. So, Con Edison van comes up. A big, fat security guard lets him in. The bad guys rush in, knock the security guard down, and they start opening up their briefcases, the Control 7, and they take off their helmets, and then they put on glasses. And they have suits on, so they look like businessmen or accountants.
Sure.
And here we are. Iron Fist is looking at them and says, oh, they're accountants. Thing is, if they're wearing these motorcycle helmets as their uniforms, without glasses, they can't see, because accountants wear glasses because they're nearsighted.
Right.
So how are they seeing to fight people? Maybe that's why they do so badly.
Right. And just to note, Iron Fist is looking at them through like a vent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's pretty cool looking. Huge vent to a secure location.
Yes.
Okay. So Iron Fist goes to where the security guard is, and it's Luke Cage, and he's mad because
he was wearing a fat suit and this uniform over his costume.
Mm-hmm.
So then they fight Control 7, who are all like wearing the same outfit. They all
look very similar. There's not much difference in them.
Like, that should be a clue that these... Like, why did they change? Like, going incognito, but you're all dressed and look alike, defeats the purpose of changing costumes. You know what I mean? That's very conspicuous.
The only thing I didn't catch that point. But they went into suits so they can just blend into the crowd. But they're all wearing brown and wearing the same hat. That's going to be noticeable because that's odd and weird.
Yeah, and so then we get panels of Luke and Danny fighting guys in brown suits.
Yeah, and I love his pal Boing and Crack. I love that. One of the guys says decimate them, and
yeah.
Which is what, take 10%. Decimate means, as in Roman history, if a legion ran or something like that, sometimes they're decimated, which means 10% of them were put to death by their fellow soldiers.
I did not know that.
Yeah, as decimate, deci is 10.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
like decathlon. Mm-hmm. I did not know that, and so I think it has probably, in the popular vernacular, been used wrong.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I have never heard of that, and it's definitely seen it and used it in the term just to mean that your forces are depleted substantially.
Or wiped out. Crassus used it in his war against Spartacus because he got some legions that ran from Spartacus because they were outnumbered 10-1. Spartacus got a really huge army and it was doing well. Crassus decimated them, and the soldiers forgot about being afraid of Spartacus and became afraid of Crassus. He was an interesting character in his own right.
Yes.
All right. So, the heroes for hire are kicking butt. 2 guys run away. They have all the information they're getting from CCI, and they're trying to flood the market or just destroy
the competition. So is this part of like so is Gordy like a corporate raider? Is this part of a attempt to have a hostile takeover of the CCI company?
Or something, yeah, maybe. So Gordy comes out, and he has not shaved, and here he is with his cell phone, and he zaps people with it, which is kind of, my cell phone is a lot better than his, but it's not weaponized, and I'm kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
And he uses it as a boomerang, something I could not do with my iPhone.
It's a phone-a-rang.
Yeah. Does Captain Boomerang know about this?
Right?
Oh, look, they have floppy disks. Oh, man. I thought that floppy disks were the coolest things. And
they were pretty neat.
Yeah.
They hold so little information comparatively now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, less than a thumb drive would today, right?
Oh, you could... a good-sized thumb drive, probably about 10,000 floppy drives.
Wow.
I mean, there's just not much, no.
Yeah, but I remember they were...
You could put your paper on it, though, which is cool, You're writing a paper for class.
Oh yeah,
That fit right on it, and that's what else do you need?
right. And what I think was cool about the floppy disks, they were flat and floppy. You could store them vertically or horizontally, no big deal.
Yeah.
You could attach it to something with a paper clip to go along with a manila folder.
Mm-hmm.
It served the purposes of businesses in the 1980s or college students or things like that very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were fragile though. That's the only problem.
Yeah. And when I was in school, we were instructed not to touch the jelly bean or the donut, which is what the two filmy parts.
I never heard that, but that's great.
That's what at least my first computer teacher referred to them as.
Yeah.
The two filmy parts that were delicate and you weren't supposed to touch.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there are two spots you're like, ooh, you're most tempted to touch.
Yeah, because they move inside the sleeve.
Yeah.
Well, so Gordy kicks butt and he gets the disc. And he goes back to some headquarters, and there's a weasel. Man, he's ugly. Is this some? He's so ugly that it's like, is this some kind of joke or something?
I don't know. He's just made a character.
Yeah,
okay?
But it's so odd.
It may be supposed to be somebody, or like somebody that familiar, or it could be not.
Yeah,
it could have been like, let's have the guy look like this.
Yeah. Gordy kind of looks like he's drawn from somebody real.
Yeah.
The way it looks when they do a real person in comic books, it looks a lot different from the...
Right. He may very well have been photo referenced.
Yeah. Or somebody's friend or something like that. So,
yeah.
So, Control 7 is down but not out. Luke Cage is back at the office. And he gets a letter from Danny saying, we really need this money. Someone signed CCI's contract. And Luke Cage is ticked off about it. So, I don't know, is Heroes for Hire in trouble?
Yeah. And Danny gets a note basically the same. Both of them were sent by Gordy. It's a trick.
I missed this. Okay. Because the pages stuck together. I mean, okay, this is the first time I've seen this. And that is pretty dang cool. Oh. It's a fax.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Well, see, and that should be a giveaway. How would Gordy fake the, point of faxation on the other end to make it seem like it was faxed by Luke?
Yeah.
But,
Yep. Gordy, he's had his good day, and he goes back to his house, and he lives in a dump.
Yeah.
And we find out that his wife left him.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like, I think this is something old that he keeps and looks at, and it's, this is when my life went turned to crap.
Yeah.
And he's real sad, so he calls his mother after 11 because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And at the time, long distance was super expensive.
Right.
Man, he's more pathetic than Spider-Man, Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I swear, it's just, this is really sad and pathetic. And
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meh on this issue. Just kind of
Yeah, although I wonder what they were going towards or something.
I mean, you remember when we covered those two Spider-Man annuals with the character Ace? The Michael Jackson Prince type character?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like Gordy is a bit of a character like that, where like maybe they were going to try to like see if this character is worthwhile to have as an ongoing recurring character or something.
Yeah. He has been in other issues.
Okay. I haven't read them, but
I looked it up. Not much cultural resonance or anything like that. I couldn't find anything Google.
Yeah.
So.
And this happens. Sometimes a minor character is introduced with the intention that they will be a major character, and they just aren't.
Yeah. I would love to know what people were thinking when they did this issue.
Right.
What were they going for? It sounds like it's a cool experiment that failed or something like that.
Well, and here's the thing. We know that Power Man and Iron Fist this series is, historically, because we have hindsight, we know this series is failing and it's near the end. So this is an experiment that was tried. Maybe someone will be interested in this. Or it also could have been like, yeah, no one's paying attention. It's maybe selling well enough to avoid cancellation, but not. It's not a big book, so editorial. There's not a lot of oversight, and maybe they're just like, well, let's just try this. You know?
Yeah. I know professional wrestling had the $1 Million Man, and they had a bunch of yuppie bad guys, and they're wonderful.
Yeah.
And
Ted DiBiase was a very interesting character from the world of wrestling. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something. Or there's something.
But as am I.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that's an issue of Power Man and Iron Fist. Shrugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's definitely not at the height of the series. It's really drawing near an end. And
the Gordy figure doesn't do anything for me. I mean, it's an interesting idea to make someone super villainous from a regular Joe-looking guy or Nebbish-looking, but
it's an idea. I don't know that it's a good one. I think comic book readers, especially superhero comics, they'd rather have your traditional supervillain.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. There's been some good tries of people who are not. Kingpin is not very. He's just not like anything I've ever seen, and I love Kingpin. But nothing. I don't know. The Evil Scientist, we had a bunch of those.
Yeah,
and they kind of.
But I mean, if you're gonna have a non-powered villain who, for lack of a better term, is just a guy, they need to be ruthless or imposing in some way, like the Kingpin. Gordy doesn't have anything really going for him.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't really seem like much of a villain either.
Maybe this is kind of like a postmodern villainism. They're just trying to overshadow something.
This really smacks of like where the culture was in the 80s. So this issue is kind of an interesting snapshot of that. It succeeds in that way, but
yeah. In the Matrix, Agent Smith was just regular, kind of imposing, but nothing special guy when you first saw him. He's a scary government guy.
Sure.
But then he gets scarier and scarier.
Because you realize he's this super powered like computer villain or something.
Yeah.
Or
one of the
whatever
greatest
villains
of all time. And
yeah,
I love the Matrix. I wish I could go back in time and tell myself, do not watch the Matrix sequels, and do not watch the sequels to Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
They have really ruined the two first movies for me. But
I've never watched any of the Pirates movies because I hate pirates.
Really?
Yeah. But
what have they ever done to you?
Don't even get me started. But with the Matrix, I'm like, I think it's stupid anyway. It's just too 1990s for me. It's just trench coats and Keanu, and I hate it. You know, two things I despise. You know.
I'm not a big Keanu Reeves fan. He plays a surfer dude extremely well, but that's all he does. No matter what he does, when he ever says something, you hear the silent dude.
Dude, man, and whoa are his big go-tos.
I love you, princess.
Man.
Dude. You just hear it.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, okay, we're on a weird tangent, but like, I don't like The Matrix because it's like the ultimate cyberpunk movie, and I don't like cyberpunk. I think it's stupid. So that's just me. Plenty of people like it. I enjoyed it. I understand that it's an important movie, and it was very innovative. I just don't care for it personally.
That's fine.
So
you're wrong, but I forgive you. No.
You're fired. No, I'm kidding. So anyway, I think we're just going to wrap up here.
Okay.
Comic Reflections is recorded in Portland, Oregon, and produced by Sean Roof. Until next time,
I'll see you in the funny pages.
Xenozoic Xenophiles.
A fan podcast devoted to the comic series Xenozoic Tales.
It's a post-apocalyptic adventure series filled with Cadillacs and dinosaurs.
I'm Ruth.
And I'm Darren.
We hope you'll join us as we discuss the stories, characters, and art in this excellent comic series from creator, writer, and artist Mark Schultz.
Xenozoic Xenophiles is available at podbean.com and on iTunes and Stitcher.
And find us at xenozoicxenophiles.com.
Hey, I'm Jen.
And I'm Sean. We're here to tell you about our podcast, Worst Collection Ever.
And this is the show where we tell you about the worst comic book collection in existence. And it just happens to belong to us.
We have some of the worst comics from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. They're bad.
Terrible.
They're not worth anything.
No good.
Why do we own them?
Bad.
I own a number of issues of Terror Inc. and Guy Gardner.
Basically, we go around to local comic book stores and we buy everything we can out of dollar boxes.
We tell you about the weird stuff in them. We tell you about stuff that's related to them. We go into tangents. And we're very uninformed, so...
Oh my god, totally. But totally check out our podcast because you'll hear us just talk and joke about Marvel books and DC books from God only knows when.
That's right. It's our show, Worst Collection Ever, every Tuesday on iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere you get your podcasts. Download, rate, subscribe, tell a friend.
It'll be good and terrible, but good.